Hello everyone, Soldier17 here. Let me first like usual, I did not own the picture, not pay video, alright, okay, so here's the thing. And this is gonna be a little bit difficult at first to understand. I know there's gonna be another, how should I say this? I know there's gonna be another girl, basically, that's with Hajime. Basically, his crush before the whole entire crud happens to him when he fell into the dungeon because of one person, set up to die. So just so you know, she wasn't around when I just had to look up the name of the person that he was facing that I wanted this happen in season 2 because I did not see it yet. But anyways, yeah, she was not around when he was facing God's apostle. So she's still stuck in that world, and oh boy, she's gonna hate whatever happens. So, just so you guys know, the only ones who are gonna be there is the vampire, his daughter, the bunny, and the dragon. They're gonna come into DanMachi. And Belle is not a part of the Hestia familia. Reasons why, you will find out. But just know this, the god has a brother-sister sort of thing. Like older sister, little brother situation with Belle. So, alright, so where we're starting off in this what if is very simple. We're starting off on the very first episode. You know how, it's a little bit earlier than in canon, but here's the thing. Something was wrong with the dungeon. You see, the minotaurs, more than one, were a lot stronger than what they were supposed to be, And, well, so basically our young hero in the making decided to be a distraction because of his fellow familia members were winded and needed to catch a second breath and tired. So he distracted the minotaurs, fighting them off very, very, easily. You see, because of this, basically, how should I say, some people were impressed, his familia members, especially one person was impressed with him. She does not show her emotions, but she was impressed by his willingness to fight on. You see, in the middle of the fight, people were cheering for him, and they see a minotaur suddenly horn goes stabbing into his arm, basically nearly looks like it was about to rip off, and then all of a sudden he just stabs in the eye with his dagger, basically, which, to be fair, some people winced in pain. But can you blame any one of them? No, I cannot. I don't think anyone should. So, does this kill the Minotaur? Yes, pretty much. It does. Okay. So, I'm just putting my phone down so I can do something real quick. There we go. Bookmarker. Alright, so, what happens, though, when the Minotaur is basically still the horn stuck in his arm, legit, and he just stabbed it in the eye, he basically does get his arm released while, holding the dagger, pulling it out, but also cutting the side of its face, and while it's screaming in pain, he literally just runs up to it and, just stabs it in the chest. You see, for some weird reason, this Minotaur's skin was not that, how should I say this, very thick to, rough, how you would say, for something to be pierced by a dagger in that point. You need, something sharper and heavier. Yeah, it was able to be pierced by it. And so, Belle, killed the killed the Minotaur, the horn, poofed off of it, basically, because of this was one of the where eyes did fight it and was thrown back. So, yeah. And Belle just, stand up like he was, like in the anime when he first killed his very first minotaur, but instead he floats backwards, and his arm is like, how should I say this? It's like near the elbow area, like right in the center of where your arm will be before the elbow. Yeah, it's like dangling a little bit. So, but here's the thing. We then proceed to go to, well, 3 different girls. One of them is trying to figure out how to get money so they can, proceed to live without worry. Another one is thinking they can probably sell something again that Hajime gave them. And another one just, well, thinking about going to the dungeon at night. Basically, they are basically you, Shia, and Tio, and along with Miu. MYU is there with them. And basically they're trying to figure out if, anything Miu can eat is not, harmful. So, but before we go into the talk, we will have to go back in time by maybe a month before Belle came into the city. You see, we have Hajime, who's fighting off this person with wings that calls herself a god apostle. As Hajime is doing everything he can to fight off this god enemy, he's having a hard time. You see, the one girl that he that he had a crush on when he was, with his classmates, was not around due to her being injured. You see, while he's fighting, he is severely hurt. There's been a few attacks that, was pierced him, that was her wings, her feathers, basically. And he's fighting off wounds that, not fighting off wounds, fighting with wounds that would basically, if he doesn't get them, healed right away, it could kill him. But he's not getting a chance to heal them, nor is he getting a chance to do anything at the moment besides dodge and try to kill her. So, after a while, he finds a way how to, get rid of her. He basically throws up a, flashbang, as he does cover his eyes. Oh, by the way, Miu is being held by Tia? Right? I know I said her name beforehand. But, yeah, Tio. Held by Tio. And, you and Chia are basically on the ground hurting, basically bleeding, with wounds. And so when this god apostle is, blinded, Hajime takes out his, basically, overpowered sniper and shoots one of her wings. As basically it does hit her in the shoulder, taking off one of her arms. It goes into the wing, destroying it. As basically she flies down. Hajime runs over to the 4 girls, and he just slices huffing and puffing. He goes like, "Alright, I only got a little bit of time. Look, I may not be able to win against this enemy, so I gotta do one thing for you guys." As he basically uses transmutate to change the ground into something. It's basically forming it into the way that he wanted to be a portal from a TV show he saw back in his homeworld before he was isekai'd, in which he was like, "Hajime, what are you doing?" He was like, "Well, this may help you guys send you somewhere safe. I don't know where, but it's any place in here." Which basically all the girls, especially you and Miu, are basically telling him they're not leaving. And, well, a god from DanMachi is feels a tear through basically space and time and dimensions. Because if you're teleporting, that's really how it is. I mean, that's what I believe. And it's just for plot for this reason, too. So, anyways. As this god sitting on a throne, basically closes his eyes and trying to sense where this anomaly is happening. as when he finds it, he basically saw what was happening, and he grins at this young man's dedication to protect his allies. And so, before Hajime could even start it up, the machine starts. Basically the portal starts up as he goes, "Good, all right, girls, get in the portal. You'll be safe." Basically, you ask, "What about you?" Basically, he's like, "I'll be fine, but just in case." As he basically goes to the crystal where he basically lost his eye. He then closes, his metal hand. Well, actually, no, he puts in his actual hand, and then also he transmutates it. That's what, you and basically Shia, Tio, and Mew is thinking. But basically it starts glowing, and it just stays the same. As in which he basically opens up his hand as the crystal is covered in power oozing off of it. As then he gives it to you. He goes, "Listen, if you find anybody, and I mean anybody, basically worthy of this, all you have to do is put it on their chest. And here," basically he gives the ring that holds all his items. Basically his, storage magic ring. So he does say then, "And give them this. There's something in there that will help them out." Which basically, while Yu's not realizing, nor does everyone else, basically the portal is using a force to pull the three girl. Basically Mew, the kid, basically Mew, his kid, basically adopted. Basically Shia, the rabbit girl, and Teo, the dragon, into the portal as they scream, while Yu looks back, she sees it, and she goes, "Hajime, you have to come with, come on." And he says no, if he doesn't, enter now, she'll come back stronger than before. And so, when she's about to, being dragged in, she's holding on to him, she's basically knows what's gonna happen. She goes, "I'm not gonna leave you to die. We're just scared, like I said." As he just looks at her, and he nods his head no. You live, there's a chance that you may be able to come back here, or finish what I started. Whoever you find and give that crystal to, they will, basically, have my will with them. Goodbye, you. I'll miss you. As he basically makes her let go of him, and she can step through the portal. She screams out his name. Basically she just screams out, "Hajime!" Basically, just imagine that. As when that does happen, the portal stops working. As when he basically looks back at it, pulls out his revolvers, and starts shooting it, destroying it. So that way, if there's a way to try to discover what magic was used on it, it will be broken. So, yeah. Cover the tracks. Then transmutates it. Make it look like just regular dirt. Nothing happened. And while basically he was doing that, the apostle got up and was walking over to him. As when she gets there, she just sees him with basically his pistol and his oversized gun. Well, his oversized sniper rifle, basically, that can pierce through a lot of, basically anything, I believe. So, he goes, "Let's end this." Basically, she nods, and basically she uses the magic attack that Hajime jumps out of the way, basically using his air platform, and then immediately powers up the gun, and, well, let's just say he powers it up to the point where it will be a beam concentrated to the max, where it would destroy itself, like it would blow up. So, in a sense, as soon as he does that and pulls the trigger, it does go direct hits the angel. Basically the god's apostle, and killing her. And well, Hajime, basically gets off his air platform, grins, and he goes like I always say, I always kill my enemies. So he basically is walking forward, going back to the town. He'd go back to the town. And let's just say about 20 steps later, he basically is seeing everyone that he met, everything's flashing before his eyes, as then he just has a smile on his face, and then falls to his knees and basically falls on the ground and passes away. Now though, hold up. So with everyone. Anyways, now, like I was saying, Hajime basically passes away. So, well, I've been simple. We do go to the girls now arriving in DanMachi. They are basically arriving near a town. It's not near the city where DanMachi happens, no. It's just a town that's basically 2 to 3 days from the city where everything happens, where the dungeon is. As when they arrive, it was basically only 3, but then when you comes in, they basically ask, what happened to Hajime? As they see you just starts tearing up and crying. She's holding the eye in the ring close to her chest and crying, basically, to no end. In which they realize and they start crying. Mew doesn't understand what's happening, and you just goes over and hugs her and just tell her, as a child would, saying, and dad, basically, your papa, or Hajime's gonna be gone for a while. He left me in charge of you. In which, how it is, where you would, if I remember correctly, from when I watched it, you will want Mew to call her mama, but she never did. But she was like, why is you telling you Papa's gonna be gone for a while? And she just says, because he is. It's gonna be difficult for him to find us. In which they can tell Mew is trying really hard not to break down more. And so we then have them arrive in 2 days after, basically 2 to 3 days after, them getting patched up that day in town. When they get down, to DanMachi, basically the city, wherever it is. I'm just gonna call it DanMachi. The city. Just because I can never remember the actual name of it. They basically, seeing different things. How demi-humans are being treated not like actual monsters or being discriminated and hurt, which they find interesting, and about the guilds and such. They even realized they didn't have no currency, so they talk to you about how to use the ring, and if Hajime basically instructed her how to, in which she would have not because she helped work on it with him, and so they were basically get an item from it that, let's just say, a piece of jewelry from a dungeon, and so it gave them about 4 bags of gold, legit, that in DanMachi's basically rooms to rent would actually last them for a year. So yeah, anyways, they've been there all that time. So now we go back to Belle, who's basically just waking up. But actually, wait, we've got to go back to them talking. Yeah. So basically, Tio would say, "So, do you have any ideas of what we can do to make a profit? I mean, we can probably use anything Hajime could, make or has already made and sell it, but I don't want to get rid of anything from his." By the way, Mew's asleep, so that's why they're talking, which basically Yu nods. But then she says, how about we just get a job? I mean, there's places that would accept us. I mean, for some reason, people like demi-humans and calves. Like, I see at that one tavern in which basically you was saying, that is true, but there's always adventuring. I mean, but we have to find a guild. I mean, not a guild. They're called familias here by gods and goddesses. Funny, Hajime would have hated every one of them. In which all the girls nod. And they basically Tio looks at Mew, and she goes, "What about her? What are we gonna do about her if?" Basically, Yu says, "I know. If we become adventurers, or at least one of us, and we all work, we're gonna need to hire a babysitter for her. If only there was a way to have someone here with us." Which then she says, "Well, I mean, that's gonna be the hardest part, trying to find someone that won't ask us questions. Since our magic is different from theirs." In which all of them nod. So, now, though, we go back to Belle, who's waking up after a day in the Loki familia. Yes, he joined the Loki familia. Reasons why? Loki took pity on him. She felt sad for him. And surprisingly enough, Belle works really hard. Tries to help out. Tries to train really hard on his own. And so, the thing is, ever since, and basically he's been with them for about like maybe a month, 2 months, and it's just, she's surprising on his growth. It's not very fast, but it's steadily growing. In this case, that wouldn't be good for the Loki familia, but technically speaking, he helps out a lot with everything. And plus, Loki always comes in on Belle, training, and she asks him for help, and he doesn't ask questions. She goes, right away, okay, goddess. And, he helps out. So, and then she basically teased him one time, and he just says, truthfully to her, goes like, "Well, truth being honest, I didn't think you actually would have set me into the familia. So, I want to try to do everything I can. If I don't level up fast enough, I still want to help out. Prove my worth." And that does kind of, shocks her a little bit. Kind of. So then, that's how it was. I'm just want to let you guys know. But anyways, so just know, Loki basically treats Belle like if she actually had a brother that she likes. So yeah. So you're going to see kind of Loki not being a jerk to Belle, but be a jerk to Hestia in this series. Anyways, back to it. So basically, like I said, Belle's waking up. And we have Loki just coming into the room, and she hears him. I'm like, what happened to me? In which then Loki basically was holding, a bowl of water. She drops and runs over to him. And she immediately says, okay, whatever you do, don't look to your left. And he was like, huh? And basically she holds his face, he was like, don't. You'll freak out. So let me explain what happened to you, Belle. And she goes, basically that's what she says to him. And he was like, okay. What's wrong, goddess? And she goes, okay. Your arm was really damaged. And I mean, really damaged. And when she goes, wait, why are you saying it like that? And she just sighs and basically, look, we tried to save your arm, but if we didn't do what we had to do, you would have died. And so I had to basically choose your death or your life. In which Belle looks at his basically right arm. He sees where it's right in the middle where his arm is. Everything from there is gone. He has no more hand, but he has his elbow and such, and he's just staring at it in shock. And she goes, you're not freaking out. And he goes I'm actually freaking out. I'm just not showing it since you explained it. And she goes, okay, that's a good thing. And he goes, but is everyone okay? And where she just smiles at that, and she goes, yeah, everyone's fine. Everyone's safe. You were the only one who was very badly injured. And good thing for you. She basically, points over to his right as he looks. He sees the minotaur horn crystal basically that he got. He goes, "You actually killed a minotaur." I mean, of course, eyes didn't weaken it enough, basically, of the hide for you to pierce it. But I mean, that's why I asked her. I thought, but she goes, "That one's hide was really weak, so congratulations, you killed it." And he does smile, in which, so she goes, "I want you to rest up for at least a day or two, and then we'll try to figure a way for you to get stronger without your left hand. Alright?" And he does not. So we do have about 3 days pass. Bell trains with everyone in the Loki familia. Some of them legit are being jerks to him. Others aren't. It's about only like 3 of them. Beat, who B2 is being him, basically thinks Bell was always basically no good, and not should be an adventurer. Is just basically basically only has a tiny bit of respect for him, but will never show it. But he's not basically that harsh with him. He just says he's not gonna help him out with training. Ice tries, but he doesn't take her help because he already knows the skill level between him and her is very big. But she does try. People do get in the way and he denies her. Some people he basically does take some advice from, but that's all. No one trains with him. In which, basically, what Loki sees is Bell, skills is still there in his dagger, basically performance, but everything else is, it's just like, it's sloppy, and she asked Eyes about it, and she said he would get killed in minutes. Maybe he will only get to probably the second part of the second floor, and then that's it. So, basically Loki is just worrying. That's what I mean. Sister, basically. And she cares for him because of part of the familia. But anyways, so after another day of training with Bell being frustrated and being mad, we do have him then, going to his room. He does basically clean himself off, puts on different clothing, and then he does get a knock on the door. He says, "Who is it?" It's Loki. Who says, "It's me, Loki." And he says, "Oh, come in then." In which, when she does, she basically sees him. And she goes, "So, how is it for you getting used to without your hand, your left hand and a part of your arm?" He goes, "It's difficult. I'm still not used to it, but I'll get better with it eventually." And she basically looks at him with a smile and goes like, "Belle, I got something to tell you. And before you look at me with anger or hatred or sadness and, I'm kicking you out because I don't see you, being useful to this guild anymore," in which his eyes want, here he gets the picture. She goes, "I just want to say this. I'm doing this so I don't want to see you dead, Belle. At all." And Belle looks at her with a question and goes like, "Okay, you know how it is, how I always tell you to never overwork yourself, to don't always say yes to everyone asking you for help, to always basically rest up and stop training so late and research what monsters' weaknesses are for you to, get better quicker." And basically then he goes like, "And being basically overprotective mom." And then she goes, "Listen, you." And he goes, "See?" She goes, "Okay, enough joking around. I'm being serious." He goes like, you're being that serious." Okay. And then he thinks to himself, I know she was being serious, but I didn't know it was this serious." And she just sighs. She goes, "Okay." So basically what I'm saying is, I view you as a brother that I actually like, and I never want to see you die. Okay? In which Belle basically Loki's blushing from embarrassment, and he can tell she's not lying. And this does sadden him, but makes him happy. So then he says, "So you're just doing this to protect me?" And she goes, "Yeah. And if you ever find a way how to get, well, basically to fight without anything, without your hand, get better and train, and still want to be an adventurer, I'll still gladly accept you back into the not to the Hestia, to the Loki familia." But she does walk over to him and basically place a hand on his shoulder and goes like, "If you join another familia, I don't mind. Just don't ever forget about where you started, and come visit me often. I'll worry about you." In which he does nod. He goes, "Thank you, Goddess Loki." She goes, "It's no problem, but look." As she goes, "I'm going to give you something before you leave. Some money for you to basically get a place to live. And just to start off, basically, if you need to get a job and such. I can basically have a few favors given to me." And then he goes, No, I'll take the money. You don't have to help me out getting a job or nothing. As I can find one just fine." As she looks at him, he goes, "You sure?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll probably find one really quickly. I mean, maybe." She does sigh, but like, "Look, if you run into any trouble, just come back here. You're always welcome back, even if you don't, well, if you basically just to stay for a couple of nights until you can back on your feet, if it doesn't work out. Alright?" And then he goes, "Then why you kick me out?" He goes, "It's just protocol. Just stop worrying about, make me worry about you so much. I got a meeting today with another god. Just pack up your things and then come by the office later. Alright?" In which she does not. And so, Bell pack up his things. Word of him being expelled from the Loki familia has happened. Has gone word. Basically due to his injury, him not being able to fight well. And basically everyone knows in Loki familia how Loki is with Bell. Everyone can tell that she sees him as a little brother. So they kind of figured this was going to happen, but still, kind of shocking it wasn't sooner. And some people have come by and wished him, best of luck. I did come over and did give him a hug, just tell him to be safe. And what shocked everyone was this. Beat came in with a freaking bag and basically told him, "Here, take this." And he goes, huh? What is this?" He was like, "Just take it, don't open it up till you're out of here. Got it? Don't ever tell me I never did anything for you, rookie." And then he walks away. And then Belle just goes, "Does this mean we're friends?" Which I would think Tiana, Tiana or Tiana, I believe. Hold up. Just let me double check something. Okay, Tiana, let's say, that's how he acts with some people, but maybe? Ever since you basically took that minotaur by yourself, he been different when anytime we talk about you. In which he was like, "Huh?" He doesn't badmouth you no more. And he just says you got lucky. And when you didn't wake up properly, for basically an hour or two, he kind of always kept pacing him back and forth basically when the door wasn't basically open. So he goes, "Wait, you mean tell me he was pacing him back and forth in front of my door because he was worried about me?" In which basically Tiana nods. Wait, not yeah, Tiana. Yeah, basically Tiana nods. So basically, Bell just has a little smile on his face. And so, when Bell got everything packed, takes, Beat bag that gave him. He basically is walking over to, well, basically Loki's office, as then he hears something. As he hears a male's voice saying, "I'm I'm surprised you didn't have that adventurer gone sooner. I mean, Loki, I did tell you about him. He was gonna be a worthless adventurer, get in trouble. And besides, he was weak to begin with. What was the point of even having him in here for so long? He's only been here for 2 months and he didn't show much progress. Basically with our conversations, you tell me, you always say with so much enthusiasm, and I don't get it." As Loki says, "Just quiet already. Don't get me mad. I'm already upset today." As he goes, "Why? For that lowly little, basically, insignificant person? Loki, we're gods, and we're gods amongst humans. You shouldn't be feeling any emotions or attachments too." As then all of a sudden, when Bell saw the door, he sees this male guy with orange hair and ivory golden crown, basically getting slapped by Loki. Seeing her piss off for the very first time ever. She goes, "One more word out of you, and I will basically wage war with your guild. With your familia. And believe me, that's not a threat. It's a promise, Apollo." In which Apollo's looking at her with a glare and goes like, "What? You don't like it when I badmouth him? He's weak and pathetic." And so Belle hears this, sees a look on Apollo's face when, saying that with basically disgust. Belle, for the first time ever, is mad. He basically has this hatred towards Apollo. And something in him, something in his way of thinking changed. Reasons why. He remembered a lot of people telling him he wouldn't make it as an adventurer. He was basically couldn't become one because of how weak he was, how low stats he was. And so, because of his anger, he basically remembers he forgot something. And, well, when he goes back to his room, he basically sees the object where he forgot. He picks it up. And he walks back to Loki's office while Apollo is just sitting there, waiting for Loki to finish the paperwork so they can start with this, basically, business that he came towards for. And, well, before Loki could even talk, Belle opened up the door holding, the two bags that basically, well, she didn't know Belle would have. She knew probably won't be one, but not a second one. And the minotaur horn in his hand. And she goes, "Belle, you're here. Early." Then expected. He was like, "Really? I didn't have really much stuff when I came here 2 months ago." She was like, "Oh, yeah, true. True, sorry." He goes, "It's no problem. Who's this?" She goes, "Oh, this is Apollo," she says with a little bit of disgust in her voice. And when she goes, "I see. So, what about our, contract?" She goes, "Well, that can be taken off or be given to, taken off by another god. So, but first let me just do what I need to do." And so Loki does what the contract will be able to be changed when he goes to another familia. So basically, as Apollo just looks at him with a sneer on his face, as then Belle, has this look in his eye, both of his eyes that's, looking at him coldly, as basically for some reason, this sense of chill down Apollo's spine. As then when Loki says, "Alright, done. Remember, come visit if you ever need help or just to say hello. And tell me what's going on. And don't forget to eat your vegetables." And he goes like, Loki, it's fine. Don't worry about it." And then she goes, "You're not going to call me your goddess no more?" He's like, "I'm not part of the familia. And I kind of, you see me as a brother, so why not just call you by your first by your name as respect. And she goes, good, because I've been getting annoyed of that. Now, off you go, and basically he's getting up. He goes like, and then he just looks at Apollo. He goes like, but first, let me introduce myself to the god Apollo. It's basically, he has basically the bag near the side where he was sitting. Basically, it was like a couch he was sitting at. Love seat, I guess. I don't know, couch basically. And basically, it was right on the side of it. So he goes up to him and bows. He's like, hello, God, God Apollo. I am Bel Cornell, former member of the Loki familia. And basically, just because Apollo knows Loki is already in a bad mood because of him, he gets up, he goes, hello there, Bel Cornell, I am Apollo, god of the... As all of a sudden, he gets hit somewhere where, well, basically his manhood. He gets it in his manhood, as though, as he's looking up at Bel, as he's just looking at him coldly, and, well, with the horn, where basically he would never ever be fixed again. And Loki is shocked by this as he basically removes where the horn was, and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear over your scream of pain. And then he looks back at Loki, he's like, well, see ya, Loki. Sorry for causing trouble. As he walks over to his bags and put them over his shoulder while his hands covered in blood with the horn too, and walks out of her office. Whoa, basically Apollo screaming out of pain. Loki just has a grin on her face. Now though, when someone one of the gods who's watching this is laughing their butt off, and he goes, okay, already tile, goddess protector, check. Basically, he's gonna get that if he goes into a new familia. In which, basically, another guy who's watching this is just surprised, entertained, and, well, blushing at this. As basically, Ota, I'm gonna try to say this name right. Yeah, wait, Atara says, Goddess Freya, are you alright? And she goes, oh, yes, I'm fine. It's just, I have a feeling Apollo is getting his just desserts. And he goes, huh? What do you mean his karma? And she goes, yes. He goes, why? She goes, I don't know. Just have a feeling. And so, basically, Apollo is screwing out Bel Cornell's name to curse him. Basically, as Bel is walking out the Loki familia, as most of the people were looking at him, seeing the blood. Some of them ran towards the pain. As they're just shocked, they seen God Apollo, on the floor bleeding as someone tries to heal him. But Loki just was at her desk, just doing the final bits of paperwork. Like this never even happened to her in her presence. So basically, Beat just asks, basically the wolf guy, just asks, hey, what happened to him? And she goes, oh, well, Bel stabbed him in his manhood. As most of the guys just make that face of pain that they can feel it. They're like, God, no, oh, why, Bel? Why do you have to do that to him? With some people are just basically are just looking at him Apollo and just don't care. They just walk away. So someone does heal him, but yeah, Apollo's never the same again. For a mortal to basically strike a god. Never heard of in DanMachi. So, anyways, after that, we do have Bel who finds a place to stay. And, well, he tries to go, with his, basically, still trying to get used to not having his left hand, and part of his arm. He does work out and train himself. We do then have like at least 3 days later, where he decided to get ready to do some adventuring at night. Hold up. So what happens is simple. He basically packed up some basically anything he could use to help him out adventuring, like throwing daggers, his dagger, some even stuff to make traps with, and to go into the dungeon. And he does. He does go into the dungeon, and he fights off the monsters to test out his skill and limit, what he has regained and what he has tried to work on to reposition his center of gravity, and try to get used to not fighting off with one, like, where he's like 2 daggers, because that was the one thing he picked up on. So he's back to only using 1 dagger. But now, while he's in the dungeon on the first floor, we do have another person who's sneaking out at night and, says that we need to get monster crystals to basically get money. It's the only way. And since both of you don't want to do it, basically she's thinking this, I have to. So basically, Yui goes out and she goes to the dungeon. While she was, on the way, Belle was been there for about maybe 30 minutes. And Belle had already gone through basically to first floor, second floor, and third floor. When Yui gets there, she gets through it pretty easily. They're actually not that strong as the monsters that, she was basically with Hajime killing. They're actually weaker. And she knows this is only probably, she knows it's the first and second floor, but even the first and second floor monsters were, pretty more deadlier than this. And she knows there's not that many quantity of them, like someone's already been through here. And, when she gets to the fourth floor, which Belle got to, she basically on the third floor she saw some blood. And what looked like a human eyeball. Yeah, I'm giving him the Hajime look. Reasons why, you'll basically see. Or he'll tell. So, what happens is simple. She basically follows the trail of blood. When she gets down there, onto the fourth floor, immediately she sees a guy firing off, basically, goblins that should have been on the third floor, fighting him, as he's killing them pretty easily. As then, she's shocked by this, because she sees his eye is, his left eye, his blood's leaking out, and she's shocked that he's able to fight like this. And while she's amazed, she realized, wait, Hajime? As she has this instance when she sees him, but then also she sees a goblin with basically a spear, about to stab in the back. She goes, look out! Basically, as he turns around, gets hit by the spear by the goblin. The goblin is, grinning at this, as then all of a sudden, when he looks up, it just sees Belle just looking at him, as he just stabs in the head, killing it. Basically making it turn to dust, and it gets to crystallize. Then Belle's ripping the spear out of his stomach, and, he basically goes, about to fall backwards, and then catches himself and tries to keep going. He basically says, I gotta get stronger. I have to. I can't be weak forever. Not now. As then he falls forward, as then you basically is running over to him. You see, you always has the ring on, which basically is a storage ring, and she put with Hajime's eye, basically. She gave him it. She put it inside the storage. And she goes, hey, come on, wake up! And then she realized, basically, she sees his arm gone, and but that looks like it's already, been gone. But his eyes bleeding, he's just been stabbed, and a few cuts and bruises that happened. Basically, these wounds are not deep, but a lot of them, he lost a lot of blood. And she goes, oh, no, and she's just having flashbacks of Hajime, and she basically takes out the crystal that was Hajime's eye, and basically shows, I know I should give this only to someone that I believe believe in. I don't know you, but I'm not gonna let you die. So she puts it on basically Belle's chest, and nothing happens. She goes, Hajime. She says, Hajime, get this. I have to do this, and it's supposed to work. What's going? As in, all of a sudden, when she's basically just freaking out because it's not working, the crystal basically starts to have electricity coming off of it, and legit, the electricity goes throughout his whole entire body, even hitting her. As then it goes, his body is absorbing the crystal. Now, what happens is very simple. Hajime charged it up with his powers, with his magic, basically, and his abilities. So, Belle technically has all of Hajime's abilities. Not the knowledge, all the abilities he has, and I will basically save them. Save those abilities. I forgot to write them down too, so give me a minute, guys. Alright, everyone. So, wait, give me a minute. I forgot. Okay, now I'm back. So anyways. So, I looked up his power / abilities. I'm not gonna give him his fighting style, but just know this. If you look up Hajime's abilities, it's basically mystical mutation, immense strength, immense speed, immense endurance, durability, enhanced senses, immense mana, genius and intellect, master inventor, master craftsman, master tactician, master marksman, master hand-to-hand combat, and expert artist, and training methods. And basically, since Belle, basically drive to get stronger, like I showed, was strong. Basically, his mindset was basically he wants to show that he's strong, and he shouldn't be looked down on because of Apollo. So he basically gets now Wait. Okay, this name is really hard because of Liaris Freeze. So he has that. Now, I didn't even go into his stats. So his stats were technically with Loki at level 1, his canon one with Hestia. Now, because of this, and, well, let me explain this real quick as basically we get back to it. Now, back to the story. Well, basically, Belle's body is fixing itself, healing the wound, basically rapidly. Basically, you can tell something was different about her, but it's fixed. When basically the power from the crystal was being absorbed by this person she doesn't even know, she felt like something was off of her, but then it just that feeling went away. Now, because of Belle's basically changes, his hair is a little bit longer, he's a little bit more taller. Basically he grew up a little bit. He grew a little bit. He's a little more buffer, but not like the big change like Hajime had. The mystical mutation, yeah, that is there. So basically, were those technically skills that he had from the beast? Give me a minute. Okay, I went back and looked, and I realized technically all of Hajime's powers was from the monster meat. I don't know which ones are from season 2, but I did kind of read or skim over to read it, and most of them said it was from monster meat. So basically, transmutate. He has all the abilities from that. but he has to read about it or learn it, which basically you can show him. Imagination compression, mana manipulation, mana basically discharge slash compression, remote manipulation, iron stomach slash lightning field, airwalk, gale claw, night vision, foresight, sense presence, detect mana, sense heat, hide presence, poison resistance, and anything else Hajime had that's basically resistance, foresight. This one's gonna be hard to say. Diamond skinned, steel arm, intimidate, telepath tracking, immense mana recovery, mana conversion, stamina healing, shock, and limit break. Okay, so those are the things that I did not know, but I'm not gonna give him his magic. I am gonna tell you this though, his stats are gonna be bigger than what they are. Let me tell you, his stats are basically that I have them at is basically canon stats. So strength 7. Basically 77, vital 13, dex 93, agility 148, and magic 0. So I'm gonna do that later, but just know this: it's gonna be very bigger than it was than I said. So yeah, okay. So after what I said about you, basically said to herself she felt something was different, but now it's gone. So we have Bell waking up, and I already said his appearance. So he's like, my head. What happened to me? As he basically opens up his eyes, he can tell he can only see one side of his, from one side of his eye, his right one, and then he doesn't see his other, like he has blinded. He goes, oh, yeah, I forgot. A goblin took out my eye. Wait, I was stabbed. And then he basically looks where he was stabbed, and there's a hole in his hole in his shirt. There's no hole in his stomach. And then he looks over to the side, and he sees you, which is his right side. He was like, "Who are you?" She goes, I'm you. You? Belle Cornell. Wait, why does my voice sound different? What happened to me? She goes, this is gonna be hard to explain. He was like, don't tell me something happened that I legit have no control over. She goes, yeah. And like basically all of a sudden she basically smells, his scent, and her eyes widen. She goes, okay, come with me, quickly. As she goes, huh? Just do it. Just do it. Come on. He's like, bossy much. She goes, don't test me. This is something that you need to know. He's like, sure, whatever, you. Weird name. She goes, yeah, weird name for you too, Cornell. He's like, it's Belle. She goes, I don't care. Come on. As basically she's dragging him, and basically thinks to himself, she's strong for someone, well, wait. What rank she is, that can be it. But, whatever. I'll just be dragged. So, basically, after, some time, you gets to her place, and he was like, where, is this like a hotel or something? She goes, tavern, renting a room. And he's like, Adventurous Tavern? She goes, yeah. He's like, oh. Why? She goes, you'll see. So when she opens up the door, he basically sees a little girl, a black-haired, basically girl, woman, and a rabbit girl. He goes like, okay. She goes, alright, so here's the thing. Let me wake them up. So basically, she goes to wake up Tio and Shia, and basically they ask what happened. So she explains, okay, so here's the thing. I may went to the dungeon, Basically, they look at her and go like, "Are you crazy? We're not even part of a familia." Basically, she says, and she goes, "I know, but I wanted to see how strong the monsters were, and trust me, they're not that strong. They're pretty weak." What we went through, which Belle's just looking at her, and basically the other two like, "Huh?" And well, basically goes, and I kind of gave Hajime's power to him. Basically, they just look at him, and he goes, "Hi," with his right hand. I mean, technically with his left, hand, but then he remembers, I don't have my left hand. Crud. And they just look at him, and they look at her, and they look at him, and he goes, "Are you sure you just didn't give him it because he looks like Hajime?" He goes, "No. Well, I mean, he did, but okay, let me just close the explain what happened to him, and it kind of gave us a flashback of Hajime, no, they understand, but then he's like, okay, tell me who you guys are and your backstory. So they say something later on, and he goes, I don't know. So basically, they just tell them about, or tell them about their world and stuff, and then he's like, okay, so you're telling me that you guys have magic, not like a system that just like lets everything die. Which they go, yes, your dragon, which is Sophia, and then yours is left. Sophia goes, yep, and she it's person, like they seem to be super new, and she can't say extremely enthusiastic, whatever. It doesn't really matter right now. And he goes, okay, so basically, this Hajime guy, basically, which you all love, gave you my card so you couldn't receive it, and if you did, you die. Or what reason? Which basically means that one of the possible, given that magic can possibly degenerate the ability or any human magic. Well, that's what it looked like to me. And I don't think it could even kill you at all because it's human. Well, she is trying to kill, but as I was mentioning, you can't really kill just technically human. He was like, okay, would you guys influence humans? So they kind of explain, well, he kind of explains about how they're in the dungeon and how Hajime is Hajime, how they know. And he goes like, so he has all those skills and abilities, and he died after saving you guys. He probably died after saving you guys, and legit, you know, killed the person that whoever killed you guys. Wasted you non-split because of sadness, like a sadness. And he goes, so what do I have? So basically, they tell them what basically Hajime could do and say, along with besides, Ria's dreams, besides that skill. So then Belle's like, so wait, I have all these different abilities slash skills. Oh my god, that's just a lot. How am I gonna learn them all? So she just says, no, let me see. So she basically thinks of something that Hajime would write down in his book, and well, in a book, but then like all of a sudden like 20 books appear, and she goes, pulls out a section book, and then basically sees the language that Hajime written in, and he goes, huh, transmutate beginner's book, crafting beginner book, imagination beginner book. Huh. Wow, that's his. Yeah, you are right. These are books, but why is only 20? She goes, I guess there's more. I don't know. I'm just thinking of books to help you with transmutate and crafting. And he's like, okay. I mean, there should be like some materials, and stuff then, right? In which she does not. But then like they do disappear in the rain, and she goes, but anyways, I'm really sorry. and to tell you this, but you're not technically human anymore because of the powers where, and then he says the powers where Hajime got from me and the monster meat. Yeah, and then he just holds out his right hand, and then all of a sudden electricity is going through it. He was like, I kind of can figure that much. And she goes, that's not all. You may have gained the healing ability, but the lightning from the crystal hit me, so basically you were saying, so you may have became a vampire, technically, half breed. Which she was like, so I'm technically a vampire. Goes, yeah, you may have immense senses and all that stuff already, so it doesn't really matter. Sunlight may hurt you, but you're only half breed, so not really. He's like, and we don't know how much vampiric stuff, well, vampiric abilities you have, so you may just have super regeneration or super healing. Hold up. Okay, like I was saying, so basically Bella just sighs and be like, so what about my eye? And she goes, probably could not regenerate that because it was not, it was before you got the maybe vampiric regeneration. In which she just sighs and be like, okay, that's fair enough. Well, so what's gonna happen? Like, you guys are gonna, stick around with me? And then basically Tio just says, well, I don't. As then basically they just hear Mew go like, Papa! Just gets out and runs over to him and hugs him. He's like, um, uh, Mew. I mean, you said this girl's name is Mew, right? Which Mew goes like, Papa, why you not remember Mew's name? He's like, which basically you just looks at him and he then, looking at her and he just looks at, Mew and he just sighs. He basically pushes back a little gently and making her take a couple of steps and then he just, on one knee, he goes, I'm not your papa. I'm not Hajime. In which, he has his eyes closed. So basically she doesn't see. She goes, wait, what are you? And then he goes, your papa had basically a robotic, metal arm, while me, and then he shows, like, I still have my arm. I just don't have my, hand and part of it. And which was, but then who are, he goes, my name is Belle Cronell. I'm sorry, I look like him. In which, Mew is upset and, she's about to cry because she misses him. She misses Hajime. And then he basically like, hey, you don't have to cry. I mean, if you want, I can be your papa. In which she looks at him, but he goes, but I already have a papa. He said, basically, you said he's going to be coming back. As then he looks at her and then he looks, basically she gives a look of, sadness and regret and like, and basically he understands though. He was like, well, until he comes back, I'll be your papa. How's that? I mean, you have to have someone in your life to basically look up to, right? And to teach you everything. In which she says, I got Miss Mew, Tio, and Shia. But basically, Belle says, true, but I could teach you things that they can't. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. And when she just shrugs at that and she just looks at him, she goes, okay. Basically she just says in confused voice, he was like, hey, I'm just saying. He just gets up from her knee, he was like, anyways, I guess I'll see you girls later because I'm gonna get back to my place and I'll try to figure out some stuff and calm my brain down. Seriously, how much did I look like Hajime? Which all the girls saying, quite a bit. White hair, red eyes. And he goes like, okay. So he basically just leaves the place, which Mew says, is that really Papa? Which you says to me, no, he just looks like him a lot. And he could see you were really upset, so he was trying to make you happy. Basically, Mew says, I think I understand. In which basically they just look at, well, all of them look at each other and they say they have to help him out. Well, they say they have to help him out. So yeah. So basically, after that, Bell gets home and goes through everything he was told, and then he goes, I'm just too tired for this. So he basically just falls asleep. Now though, after that, after that night, Bell does take a few days to figure out some stuff, and he does wear an eye patch. But the thing is, when he's walking by a stand, like, basically a shop that's, one of those places that will basically sell you jewelry, but it's not really that great, that it's like overpriced. Since medieval times, as he goes, huh? Equipment / jewelry stand? Sweet. So he goes over to it, he goes like, excuse me, sir. And he was like, oh, yes. What is it, man? He's like, can you, do you have anything that can be used for, well, replacing an eye? He's like, huh? Well, as basically Bell lifts up the eye patch and he opens up that, eye, well, basically the eye hole that has nothing there. He's like, oh, yes. Basically, Bell quickly closes it. He goes, puts back on the eye patch. Puts it on the eye patch. He goes, sorry about that, man. Sorry about that. He goes, it's no problem. I can understand you had to show me, but wow, I recently got a new eye that can help. Same size, actually. Basically, Bell, sees the man going towards a bin that basically, well, not a bin, a little container, and he picks out this little light blue circle gem. He goes, this is a one of a kind. Recently got it. I don't know much about it, but I basically could see the value in it. In which Bell asks how much, and the guy tells him how much, and then he goes like, thanks. So he takes it and he basically puts it in his pocket and he goes, see you later. As he waits back to the vendor as the man waits by. So, by the way, I have no idea what I did the voice of. If you guys say, what the heck, I try not to offend nobody. I just try to do one that would be in a city and that would have some weird voice. I don't know. Anyways, so back to it. So basically, when Bill gets home, basically to the place he does, thinks, should I put it in myself or should I ask someone for help? It's gonna be weird if I do it by my. And then all of a sudden he gets a knock on the door, and he goes like, "Huh?" So he puts the eye on the table as he goes over, and he opens it, and he sees you, Mew, Tio, and Shia. He's like, "How did you?" As basically Mew says, "You're sent," and he goes, "True. Well, come on in." It's basically they walk in. It's a pretty decent little place. Basically you sees that the gem. She goes like, "What's that?" He goes, I was trying to do what you said what Hajime did, making a replacement eye. Well, basically, eye patch. Don't want someone to basically see the eye patch and then try to, which Mew says, alright, do you need any help with that? He goes, huh? Wait, why do you... Oh, yeah, you've done it before. She goes, yeah. So? He was like, sure. So basically, you taste the gem. Basically, Belle looks at Tio, who's holding you, as he asks, can you turn around so she doesn't see it? She goes, oh, yeah. So she does, and basically you just tells him to open up the eye hole, and she puts in the gem. As when she does, all of a sudden, Belle basically the gem is starting, well, basically changes a color to be basically to be not, be a way lighter color, in which you was like, huh? So when basically Bell all of a sudden can see, basically has his double vision back, he goes, wait, I can see? What the? What's going on? Basically, we're just gonna call it the Eye of Truth, because he's gonna see a lot of things differently, and plus, I mean, he'll be able to see through the eye patch. So, yeah. Which he was like, what do you mean? He's like, I get to see, I see everything. What the? Well, this is new. And so, you just think, maybe it was a magical item? You never know. I mean, in this place, they have things that from our world that's different. In which I was like, true. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna complain. But I mean, he does wonder if he will be able to see through the eye patch, and when he puts on the eye patch, his vision is not, not blocked. He was like, I get to see through the eye patch. And which, basically, everyone's just like, huh? Mew tilts her head, and he was like, I don't know how, I'm not questioning it, I'm just rolling with it. So yeah, so basically, let's just say this. Bell, learns everything from Hajime's books on the transmutate, how to basically get materials, how to basically break them down, from the inside out, and just break them down in general. Just everything Hajime was able to do and create. In which, yeah, he did this so that way he can make a new, hand and part of the arm that he's missing. Is he gonna go with guns? You guys can decide that. But I'm mostly probably gonna stick with the daggers. He probably will have guns, just not now, because he think it would be probably too dangerous to have different things from from the world. And besides, the daggers what he'll make will be strong enough to cut through almost anything. So yeah, he'll probably make a sword. But now, Bell just realized something while he was reading the book and working on the arm. He just realized, wait, Beat's bag. So he runs over to where he put the bag and he opens it up. He basically sees, a jacket, basically, with a note. He goes, hey, rookie, I got you a new jacket. And, some, basically, boots and pants. Whatever shirt you got. This is a going away present. You're welcome. Just don't kill yourself out there. I know you're gonna go inside the dungeon. These things have protecting magical spells on them. And they will pair themselves, so you're welcome. Things I do for you. So basically after Bell reads that, he just chuckles to himself. And, he just says, I'll be right back. So he goes to the restroom. He had already his basically tan shirt on. Well, not the black shirt on. And then when he comes out, the black pants, the black boots, and the jacket, basically the girls look at him and he looks almost similar to Hajime. He just has a little, he's just not, he still has a little, basically innocent face. Not, somewhat innocent. So they're like, are you sure you're not Hajime's brother? They all say at the exact same time. He was like, no, I don't even know who Hajime is until you guys explained it to me. Seriously, who would name their kid Hajime? That's a weird name. And they Bell Cornell is a weird name. He's like, yeah, whatever. Look, I don't care if I look like him, I'm not him. Alright? I'm Bell Cornell. And that's it. Man. I don't wanna be rude to you guys, but still, comparing me to him is gonna be so annoying. And which you does think about it, and that is true. Basically, Shia just says sorry, while Tio's just quiet. basically Mew just says, basically not. Mew just looks at him. He's like, not Papa. He's like, thank you. At least a kid can understand that. So, basically, though, he does then ask, like, wait, how was Hajime like? So basically, they kind of explain his attitude, and then he basically says about him hating gods. Basically hates a god. And then basically, Bell just stays quiet. They're like, so how are you? He was like, I want to be a hero. I want to be a great adventurer. I do have a belief in hating gods and goddesses that deserve it. And which they kind of look at him with a little bit of shock. And maybe a kill if necessary thing. I never had that before, so... And I never hate gods or goddesses before. If only they deserve it. And only kill if necessary. In which Yu says, well, can you tell us? So basically, he just tells them about Apollo and how he was acting towards his sister / goddess, former goddess, Loki, and how Loki acted, and which they kind of even were pissed. So, after that, basically, he's just looking at after he says that, and they're being pissed, he doesn't even notice, he's just looking at his hand, he was like, man, it feels like it's a part of me. Like, I never lost it. Feels good. Everything's working properly. In which they smile at that. And so they ask, so you want to try and find a familia then? He's like, wait, you guys want to join? She'll basically, join the same one as me? In which they do nod. And so he just basically says, okay, let's go look. So they look for basically about maybe an hour or two until, basically he's just like sighing. He's like, by a church. You're walking past it with them. He's like, man, just looking for a familia to join, and everyone rejects you. It really is a pain in the butt. It's not like we're gonna find a goddess or god that's gonna say, oh, come join my familia, out of nowhere. In which you says, you never know, we could be, as in they just hear someone saying, wait, you want to join familia? As basically, they just see this black, twin tail, blue eye girl that's basically the same size, basically a little taller than you, looking at them. As he goes like, who are you? She goes, oh, I'm the goddess Hestia. It's nice to meet you. As he basically, you just looks at him with a smile, and he goes, don't you dare say anything. And she goes, why? He goes like, just don't, please. We're not that lucky. In which she goes, so, who wants to join my familia? And they say, Belle just says this, me and the 3 girls that's next to me, but not the kid. Kind of a situation with her. We'll explain later. Which she goes, really? He goes, yeah, do you mind that? She goes, no, you guys are welcome, come on. And so when they get in, they do go down, they even see a bed and a couch, and basically he's like, is this all you, not to be rude, Hestia. But she goes, I know it ain't much, but this ain't, how should I say this? I haven't had no one be a part of my familia at all. Everyone just laughs at me and, doesn't want to be a part of it. And when she goes, well, I kind of can understand that, but, hey, what do you guys think? Which Yu says, I don't mind. Basically, no, Tio says, me neither. She does say, as long as you guys are here, I don't care. In which Belle says, well, it looks like you got 3 new members. In which Hestia's eyes widen and she's happy. She goes, alright then, let me make you guys this contract. blessing slash contract. So she does this. Wait, basically, the three girls ask before they even ask. Belle says she's had to put it on our backs, basically. So I'll go first, and then I'll go upstairs, and you girls will gonna go. All right. In which Mew says, okay. So when basically Belle takes off the jacket and taking off his shirt, basically he basically is just sitting down on a stool while Hestia's was staring and her face was red a little bit. And she does see the metal arm. Basically part of the arm. Curious. But then she sees the former, basically a Loki contract. Basically blessing. She goes, wait, you were part of the... He goes, I'm an ex-member. You just have to put your blood on it to make the contract void, to get rid of it. She goes, oh, okay. And which she's wondering, why would... I mean, it's not that basically so often that Loki basically has someone leave her familia, but still, why him? So basically when she basically, puts her blood onto basically making the contract with him, she basically sees his stats, and I'm gonna go through them. I'm gonna, just make them, so give me a minute. Okay, so basically when Hestia sees his stats, she basically sees he's only at level 1, strength 400, vital 550, dex 600, agility 894, magic 1000. Her eyes widen, and Belle, she goes, ha, ha, why, huh? And basically Belle puts back on her shirt, was like, wait, actually no. She basically even sees the skills, her eyes widen at the list of it, and then she basically puts on the paper and, does the circle as it just appears. And she didn't even notice the, Hestia freeze. So she goes, how do you have this many only at level 1? As he goes, they'll tell you. He takes the paper after he puts on his shirt, grabs the jacket, and just goes upstairs. And basically, yeah, every girl gets their own stats, and at level 1, they're pretty high. And she's like, huh. So they kind of explain their situation. Basically, Hestia basically understands, and basically she asks Belle, and then Yui tells what happened and about the crystallizing that basically Hajime gave her and all the powers slash skill abilities he has, and which she kind of can understand now. And when basically Belle says, "Is everyone done?" Basically they all say yeah, and then he goes like, "So, goddess, I guess basically you understand what's going on." Which she does not. And he goes like, "So you're a hybrid, basically monster because of the meat Hajime ate." So basically he does even says mystical mutation, and then you're a vampire and a human. He goes, yeah, you don't mind me being here? She goes, nope, not at all. I mean, that's actually quite amazing. And can you tell me what happened to you in the Loki familia? So which he does tell her, and she actually shocked that Loki actually treated him like a brother, little brother. But now she's a part of her familia, so she's gonna tease Loki about this. And so he goes, so when can we get started? Because I technically can work on, well, not rebuilding, but open this area up because of transmutate. In which basically, as he has eyes widen, she goes, really? He goes, yeah, I can make a couple more beds and a couple more rooms. We'll just need to get some materials then to make doors and put on the hinges. Probably make the metals and we'll transmutate them to make the hinges. But I can't make the doors. We'll have to, make them probably from wood or get the materials to make it. Well, this is gonna be fun. As he just saying that with a smile on his face, which Hestia goes like, "Alright then, let's get started." She just says with pumping her fist up in the air, in which everyone just says hi, basically, And so that's what we're gonna just offer everyone. This is very long, sorry, but I hope you guys like it. This is probably gonna be coming out Sunday night or Sunday morning, because I'm probably gonna forget to post it tonight. Basically, so if it comes out Sunday or Monday technically in the morning, it's because of me forgetting to post it, am just playing Fire Emblem Three Houses. Don't know the name or basically the game because I just got it and I was playing it like crazy. So, yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Anyways, bye. Have a nice day, night, wherever you are. Bye.